Hello and welcome to the 8th episode in the mini-series of the Formula 1 2014 review. In this mini-episode we're going to be looking at Williams and analysing how they've gone on this season. The team, founded by Frank Williams, kept hold of Valtteri Bottas again from last season, and they brought in some experience alongside the youngster in the form of Felipe Massa, who's a many-time Grand Prix winner and almost won the championship in 2008. In Australia, they appeared to have a very quick car at the start, arguably probably the second fastest car on the grid, and they didn't really show that in qualifying. Massa was only good to qualify just inside the top 10, and Bottas was outside the top 10, but Massa sadly wasn't able to show his potential after a shunt with Kobayashi in the first corner, which put him out, and then Bottas later making a mistake which punctured his tyre, and he was able to fight all the way back through the field, but it was a case of a missed opportunity for Williams, and that was sort of the story for the first few Grand Prix, Malaysia being another case in point. They didn't have the best of strategies, and because of that, the two Williamses ended up finishing 7th and 8th respectively, which was a shame once again because their qualifying hadn't gone well again, and they ended up getting stuck behind Jenson Button in the McLaren towards the end of that Grand Prix. Bahrain, again, another case in point. They weren't able to optimise their tyre strategy, although the safety car that happened towards the end of the Grand Prix, which bunched the whole field up, they were on older tyres and it caused them to fall backwards, and they again finished 7th and 8th with Massa heading Bottas. In China, not the greatest of races for Massa, for Williams. He had many problems throughout the Grand Prix. After a good strong qualifying, along with Bottas who had a good qualifying, he managed to stay in the same position in 7th, but there's a really case of missed potential once again at China for Williams. Although in Spain, things upturned slightly, despite the fact that Massa had another poor strategy race again. Bottas had a great race, and he, after a good qualifying, started 4th, he ended up finishing 5th, and really started to show the potential of that Williams package. Sadly, Monaco wasn't the best of races for them. Bottas showed for the first time that the Mercedes engine does have problems, and his engine expired after 55 laps, and Massa had a poor qualifying, but he had a great race to finish 7th after starting way down in 16th place. Canada, however, was the first sign really that the Williams is really on the pace and one of the top teams this year. Massa was leading the Grand Prix at one point and looked almost as if he could go on to win the Grand Prix until he had to pit, and then the accident with Perez on the second to last lap curtailed any chances of him getting a good result. And Bottas as well had a struggled race more than a poor race, and he ended up finishing 7th after a good qualifying position in 4th. But things were about to change, and in Austria that was well proven. Both Williams locked out the front grid in a 1-2, and it was a cracking performance by Massa to put the car on pole. And although in the Grand Prix they might not have had the same pace as the two Mercedes cars, but they were the best of the rest, and they really pushed Mercedes. Both of them finishing within just 18 seconds of leading with Rosberg. A great performance from Williams, both getting a 3rd for Bottas's first career podium, and Massa finishing 4th, which is a great result for him. And then in Britain, again Bottas proving that the car truly does have pace, and it was a wonderful race for him, and he ended up finishing 2nd place overall, despite starting way down on the field in 14th again. Sadly for Massa, his race was over after the first lap, after Kimi Räikkönen crashed coming out of the village complex, and to avoid a huge impact, Massa was able to power slide the car and not able to hurt Räikkönen if he had crashed in straight onto him. Germany was another case in point, proving that the Williams has got pace, with Bottas qualifying 2nd and turning that into a 2nd position overall. Great driving from him to fend off Hamilton. Massa, however, again the has been so unlucky this year, and sadly he didn't even finish the first lap after the first corner, never mind, after getting flipped by Kevin Magnussen in the McLaren. A scary accident after such potential over the weekend after qualifying third, alongside his teammate, Bottas. Hungary was a bit of a struggle for Williams, however, with Massa having problems during the race. But he was able to come through in the end and able to finish fifth. He could have been a lot closer, but I don't think that Williams had the pace really this at Hungary. It didn't seem to suit them that much compared to, say, Germany and Austria. But both cars were able to get in the points of 5th and an 8th place, was a really good result for them. I feel as if Williams this year could end up getting a victory. I think it's possible with a bit of luck. We've seen it with, the Mercedes isn't bulletproof. Hasn't got that bulletproof reliability, and Williams are there or thereabouts. They just need a little bit of luck to go their way, especially Massa, who's been really unfortunate. But he's showed at times he's still got the pace. That pole position at Austria proved that. And Bottas is going to be one hell of a talent for the future, and I think he's going to really kick on now and probably go on to be definitely a race winner, world champion. There is a chance of that maybe in the future. I think though, this year Williams have proved that they've got a quick car, and they've been able to put faith in the drivers. They've shown that with Felipe Nasr, who's one of the test drivers, he's shown great pace, and for the first time in 20 plus years since Giovanni Amati, they put a woman in the car of Susie Wolff, who performed brilliantly in Germany. She was only, I think, 2/10 away from Massa's time, which is a brilliant performance for someone who essentially in only a second Grand Prix weekend after Britain was unfortunate to her with the power unit problems that she had. I think though for Williams they're going to be challenging Ferrari and for that third place, possibly even Red Bull for second place in the constructors if they can get a bit of luck coming their way with both cars rather than just one. And I'd keep an eye out for Williams because they could really push on for the second half of the season, so keep an eye on them.